Messages from last night was that cancer's very variable. It's constantly shifting. It's highly variable. I think it's helpful for people to understand that we're not looking for a single treatment. And even some of the really new stuff that hits headlines, like immunotherapy, ideas of targeting the tumor microenvironment, stuff we were talking about last night, it's unlikely, I think, that we're going to see those as acting as standalone, one-off, we're done, we're cured therapies. And I think it helps if people approach cancer with a realistic sense of, okay, I'm going to need a load of different, I'm going to need to go through a series of tests, of imaging, of biomarking, but I'm going to have to give the clinicians an opportunity to build a molecular picture of my disease so that when they try to tackle the problem, they can target it, they can tailor the right combination of therapies. That's going to take a little bit of patience, perhaps. And we've got to embrace early detection with a bit less fear. We've got to embrace some screening ideas with a bit less fear. Nobody wants to hear it, that you've got cancer, but it's better to hear it sooner rather than later. And I think by engaging with people, we stand a better chance of people approaching the idea of, okay, I better find out whether this is brewing, whether this is going to be a problem sooner rather than later. And when they engage with the therapy side of things, maybe they need to engage with, okay, there's going to be a journey here that doesn't involve getting stuck into treatment immediately. And maybe that will help people be more realistic. But I think from the scientists and clinicians side, having this conversation allows us to talk more effectively to people about what it is we do, what it is we might be going to do, what difference it might make. Communicate statistics, numbers, chances, probabilities, communicate why I'm doing this battery of tests and scans, maybe communicate why I'm going to do it again. It's not because I got it wrong in the first place, but because the disease's capacity to shift and adapt to what you just did means that maybe I have to retest, re-image. Maybe I'm going to change therapy. That doesn't mean I did the wrong thing or that it wasn't working. It's just that the goalposts have shifted as the disease responds. Cancer is not going to be an easy thing to tackle, I think. And so the more realistic and the more sophisticated we are in understanding, both sides need to engage so that in the middle, everybody has the right expectations and engages in what could be quite a sort of complex dynamic treatment regime in 20 or 30 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Nerd Chronicles with your host, the socially awkward nerd, Christian Paul speaking. And ladies and gentlemen, in light of what happened regarding the situation with Ananda Lewis in regards to all the folks that are currently suffering from cancer, various forms of cancers right now, I know this video, I know it's not meant to be a bit lightheaded because you have somebody literally right now that's currently fighting for their life, literally fighting this complex, deadly, unpredictable disease. They're dealing with uncontrollable steroids, rampantly rampaging like steroids due to some screwed up DNA. You know what I mean? And there's no guarantee whether or not you're going to live longer or actually just be here to see your family and actually trying to live life the best and fullest, or you could be transitioning out of here very slowly unbeknownst to your knowledge. And that is a very, very mortal and scary place to be. You know what I mean? And with that, it gave me some curiosity on digging into cancer research, knowing about cancer severities, seeing how severe each cancer can vary upon the individual. And that's why I intend to dig now based on the data that I've mainly found. It's basically a data that I found up in Kaggle that deals with global cancer patients within the last 10 years, stemming from 2015 to 2024, last year at the time of this recording. So I do want to actually try and dig into that. but I will definitely give some concrete guarantees in this. I know the more severe that the cancer is, right? The higher the stage, the more severe the cancer becomes, the higher the deadly the spread becomes, and how far spread is reaching, to the point where you could barely have a cure to actually deal with that particular cancer. And you're forced to actually trying to maintain it, or actually trying to keep it at bay, or live in the terminal stage, which is very unfortunate for some patients to mainly deal with. Now, with that, I want to dig into this Kaggle dataset. Shall we? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have this dataset that's titled Global Cancer Patients from 2015 to 2024, titling the cancer case report in all the world in the last 10 years. And big shout out, to Mr. Zahid Ferozi, okay, in regards to this data set. And what we have here is this data set containing global cancer patient data over the last 10 years from 2015 to 2024, as basically explained, designed to simulate the key factors influencing cancer diagnosis, treatment, and survival, basically generating projection via various modeling and data visualization. It includes a variety of features that are commonly studied in the medical field, such as age, gender, cancer type, environmental factors, and lifestyle behaviors. Data is perfect for data analysis, data visualization, linear regression, classification modeling, feature selection correction analysis, and predictive modeling for cancer severity, treatment costs, survival prediction. And you have data visualization and creating some insightful graphs in regards to that, as we've discussed before. Age, 20 to 90 years old. Gender, male, female, other. Country, various countries all around the world and the region of the patient. Cancer, various types of cancer. Cancer stage 0 to stage 4. Risk factors, genetic risk, air pollution, alcohol use, smoking, obesity, you name it. Treatment costs can vary. A cancer treatment in United States dollars. Survival years, years survived since diagnosis. NED, no evidence of disease. Severity score, a confidence score representing cancer severity. And basically we could see if that can definitely be a direct correlation to the stage of the cancer. It does provide a broad view of global cancer trends, making an ideal resource for those learning data science, machine learning, and statistical analysis in the healthcare industry. And we're going to dig deep up into that Excel workflow, that Excel text file, CSV file, so that at least we can get a good detail of what type of data we are dealing with. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the leftmost section, you have the patient ID. On the leftmost column, you see age, gender, country of residence, year, and if we're able to scroll down, genetic risk, air pollution, one cause of cancer, alcohol use, another cause smoking, another cause obesity, cancer type, cancer stage, okay, treatment costs in United States dollars, survival years since basically the last treatment of cancer since NED came about, regards with cancer, since the patient was in remission. And I do want to look into some correlations here. Survival years mainly takes place after the patient is cleared of all treatment and they find no evidence of disease, or the patient is in remission. All right. You see these scores here that you have, right? And you see the cancer types. I do want to be very, very clear. Each and every person is very unique on actually how they handle this type of disease and what their bodies will allow and will not allow. Okay. And depending on the strategy that they make swift decisions on, their survival rates will increase. As you know, if you leave your cancer unchecked, if you don't get screened, it could be a split-second decision literally between life and death, unfortunately. So the target severity score you can see there versus the cancer stage, and it can definitely fluctuate between in and out. Mind you, there's different types of cancer that actually mainly come about as well, which is not a clear, thorough, cut and dry, linear relationship. I do want to let you know in regards with that right now. So, let's go take a moment Tableau, and then we will dig into the whys on like what type of trends we can find. And then I'll see you in the next one to give my findings in a bit. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is a very unique graph set that I've done from Tableau, doing a data visualization in regards to cancer patients' target severity score. I basically modeled the gender distribution of the cancer patient chance of survival, basically utilizing a pie chart, utilize a bunch of bar graphs, age distribution, severity scores, square charts, basically that's there up in this big graph actually shows the risks by distribution, the stages by distribution, and how severe. So here we have a number of patients that have their types of cancers, where I have basically pointed in the distribution cancer stages, distribution cancer types, and what's the number of patients actually just showing what type of cancers they have. Top left, you see the gender distribution cancer patient chance of survival, and you see the numbers that are actually going on below. There's like other, some people want to just be when the other, like they, them, intersex, however it may be. Female is the blue, male is the dark yellow, and the other is the red. Distribution in cancer types, you have breast cancer having 6,189 patients. 6,222 patients for cervical, and you see some of the numbers that are there if you look into the Tableau worksheet, which you will definitely find up on the site on public.tableau.com when it comes to my work there. You see the cat states actually definitely have been shown below, in which you have a bunch of patients showing how many have this stage of cancer, how like where their stage of cancer is. Like stage 4 obviously is like the worst of them all. Stage 0 is like in the beginning, early phases of the cancer, right? Stage 4 is metastatic. It is spread to many other parts of the body, and you see the treatment costs coming through by breast type. Average treatment cost for breast cancer in U.S. dollars is $52,000, for example. $53,000 for cervical, $53,000 for leukemia, $50,000 for melanoma. And we could definitely scroll all the way out. And this is stage 0. Stage 1, we show it's 53,000, and it's basically within the same process. Stage 2, same stuff around the 50,000 range. Because again, you gotta be dealing with chemo treatments, cancer medications, those 9 yards, and actually just definitely trying to make sure the cancer is at bay at the very least. Age distribution basically represented the number of patients by age they actually currently have cancer, and the cancer type in which they have per patient shows the actual target severity score, the highest being the extremely most serious and possibly terminal, right, given their situation. And it's basically grouped per cancer type, right? So you see in the breast, stage 0 to stage 4, you know what I mean? And this is irrelevant down to stages. The severity score actually is basically deals with the target severity score and how severe the cancer is and how deadly the cancer is. That is the big one right there, right? You see breast cancer, cervical cancer, colon cancer, leukemia, liver, all of that. Genetic risk by cancer type, it basically showed a number of genetic risks on how it can be affected based within that chart. Air pollution, how well it can be affected. And it depends, it's basically spaced on between types depending on the patient, and it can vary from patient to patient to patient. Same with the obesity level. It all depends on that particular individual, regards to stage, on where that patient is particularly at, because it is extremely, extremely unpredictable. Now let's focus on actually getting the modeling done with Spider and Python. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is we have Spider literally up in the building right now, as we actually run the numbers based off of this Global Cancer Dataset. So I have everything mainly in line that I mainly practice and review. So we're going to load these packages up here, and we will see what we could get out of them to start. So let's start running. To start before, and you're noticing how fast it's starting to code up. So it's getting all the information that's down there. It's mainly taking its time. So let me try and take a quick pause. Actually, I don't really have to take a quick pause because it's loading the stuff that it needs to load up. So we have that there now. Let's go import survival analysis with the COTS pH fitter. Get that out the way. Now that's done. Now we have our PDCSV file that we're going to print out that we're going to import. All right. Let's load that up. And you're seeing some of the mess that you see up in there that you see mainly through Kaggle, right? Excuse me. And we saw the information in regards with the data set that we shown here. And some of them that doesn't really have that much unknowns. I got rid of them to mainly simplify the process much faster, even though it could be usable, but because it doesn't have that much enough information or has a lot more unknowns or confusion, we got rid of them. But there could be other ways in which we could still use those data sets with missing outcomes. We'll utilize them definitely in other ways, which we will do in a different video. But for now, I want to try and simplify it to see, basically like a test run to see how things mainly work. So let's convert the candidates to numbers here when it comes to the modeling, when it comes with machine learning. And now we're seeing all the cancer stages. So anything that's stage 0 to 4 is going to represent respectively 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We get rid of all of the unnecessary columns, ID, gender, region, type. We don't really need any of that at that moment because we want to try and see and focus on the severity score as a predictor. So let's get rid of those guys, get those guys out the way. And now we're going to use that as a data frame here and get that out the way down to the core. Now we're going to use the COTS pH fitter to mainly utilize a fit for cancer stage and target severity store. And then you do some print summary, get the median down as well. We knocked that out the park. So give us some time to basically run the code, and you see the numbers that you see on the lower right and where my mouse is coming in. 50,000 total observations, 0 right-hand census observations, and what you see a lot of the events that are observed. Log likelihood is in the negative 490,000, and you see the time fit that was definitely run. You see all the covariance and the confidence intervals in regards to the coefficients based on the statistical model that you mainly see here in regards to all the covariates that are given. Concordance is 51%. Partial AIC is 982,000.78. Log likelihood ratio test is 7.71 on 9DF. DF representing data frames. Negative log 2P of a level ratio test is 83%. And these are the outcomes that we have given. Now let's go put the model that we have now and actually understand its shape. See how it feels. And we got everything given 5,000. Basically 5,000 rows, 11 columns, basically 5,000 cancer patients that's there. Now we want to look into the descriptions of each within that data set. So we have 5,000 cancer patients that are shown that have been accumulated in this survey here. What we see, definitely the mean in regards to the age, about 54, average about 54 years old. That's the average of the kind of cancer patients that were diagnosed. Sadly, so 20 years old. The youngest is 20 years of age. The youngest patient is 20 years of age. And the elderly is of 89 years old. Right? And the years, we don't have to really worry about the years and all that other stuff. Basically, the average years basically diagnosed is around 2019. But we can get rid of that. That's definitely for sure. Survival years, on average, it will be 5 years. And you definitely just 5 years since, the cancer diagnosis and since they've been cured. Longest is 10, lowest is about 2. Severity score, average is about 4.9. The worst is definitely a 9.16. That is the worst severity score we got to deal with. Now let's look into the class distribution. Right, see what we can find out here. And you see the number of cancer stages. So all of the patients are actually grouped within stages. The earliest stages, about 9,889 cancer patients have the earliest stage cancer. Stage 1 cancer, you got over 10,000 patients. Same with stage 2, stage 3, same thing, approximately. And the highest stage is 9,933 cancer patients that you see here. So you mainly see them grouped, right? So we try the validation scores that's definitely here, and we split them out again, like the target size that's there. We get them set up first, and we're going to do some experimenting stuff that's there. So we have to compare the scores between the models as we're going to do. So we're going to start with linear regression first in regards with that. So let's start with him, and M1 is going to be the model number 1, and let's see find the fit of the linear regression. So let's find the score. So these other guys, we're also going to have this other score. This is decision tree regressor. Bottom is K neighbors. SVR is the 4th. Random forest is the 5th. Gradient boosting 6. Extra trees is 7th. And the ADA boost is 8. So let's print those out and see what we could get out of those, which may take a bit of a while. So let's go entertain ourselves as we do. Now, if you look down on the lower left of the screen where my mouse is, you see the comparisons between each of the model and definitely print. And then we will print out and pick the best model based on that score that is given. So let's bear with us for a bit as it starts to load ourselves up. And once we find the outcome, then we'll be able to actually go continue with our outcomes and definitely experimentation. So now that we have our models lined up and our models definitely imported, let me get back to where we are before. We are going to go compare the values of those models. So A represents LR, linear regression. B is the decision tree regressor. C is the K neighbors regressor. D is the SVR, saving vector radials. I forgot the actual abbreviations. Forgive me. E is random forest. F is gradient boosting regressor. G is extra trees regressor. And 8 is the ADA boost regressor. So let's go and get this operated. So as you see here, you see the values. Linear regressor is definitely there. 99%, 91%. 13%, 22%, 98% respectively, 98.1, 98.9, 87.7%. So linear regression is like the most efficient of those 8 that you see. Now we're going to use linear regression to make a good prediction and find our outcome based on the score. And our outcome to finish everything off, given that we have the outcomes, you see the severity score per each patient. That's how you know definitely how severe each patient's severity score of that cancer is, whether or not it can potentially be cured, maintained, or the odds of survivor within that cancer patient is extremely, extremely slim. Now that all the modeling is done, I do want to give the moral of the story in regards to all of this when it comes with the severity scores and projections. I do want to take note that each patient has their different struggles and different circumstances in regards to cancer treatment and potential cancer cures. It depends on various types. It depends on various stages, on what type of cancer that he or she is dealing with. And I do want to urge everybody to please get yourself checked out. Do yearly checkups if you need to do. Go do your yearly screenings or mammogram screenings, or even do your colonoscopy if you need to. Do your colon cancer screenings if need be. Make sure that your health is in tip-top shape, because even those that have like the perfect shape definitely coming in, unbeknownst to some people, they may have certain cancers develop up in their bodies that it's not even out of their control and they're doing everything right. And now they're living with diseases of colon cancer, sarcoma, any form of cancers that's unbeknownst to their knowledge, that's literally sweeping them under the rug and literally upending their life instantly as we know it. Okay? So do the best you can. Make sure you try and eat yourself as right. Try as healthy as you possibly can. You know what I mean? Get as active as you possibly can. because that'll be like a huge step to actually try and make sure that your body is well equipped to fighting cancer, just in case if you endure this type of disease. I personally have lost family members and close friends, personally, either from the disease itself or complications straight from the disease. My grandmother, for example, tragically passed away from lung cancer 15 years ago. I have an elder cousin that passed away at the age of 51, around literally nearly 3-4 years ago. Okay. And my elementary school teacher, God rest her soul, she passed due to complications in 2012, around 13 years ago. You know what I'm saying? There's some other notable celebrities that actually got hit by this disease. Other influencers got hit by this disease as well. This tragic, complex, devastating disease. Nobi Ananda Lewis, Ryne Sandberg, Teddy Mellencamp. Who else can I mainly think of that's dealing with these things at the moment? DF Dub's Water Girl, Mariah Reese is definitely another one that's there as well. Deion Brown, God rest her soul, she tragically passed from the disease of ovarian cancer. James Vanderbeek going through colorectal cancer right now, colon cancer. He's another one. I don't know, there's definitely some black women and black men that are definitely suffering from this disease as well. Deion Sanders recently has his bladder removed because they caught him with early stage bladder cancer. He's now cleared. He's out of the water. MTR got him with a cancerous testicle, dealing with testicular cancer. He's cured. You know what I'm saying? I could go on and on with this. I got more coming that I can literally think of in the back of my mind in regards with this. Shannon Sharp, he was a cancer survivor as well. I can definitely think about that. Definitely the former Real Housewives of Miami co-star. I know it starts with Garcelle. Forgive me if I screw up the name. I apologize. But she's dealing with breast cancer also. Amber Marquez, another breast cancer survivor, I could definitely point out. And I could go on and on and on in regards with this. But I stress to you guys, and I can stress to you guys many times until I'm blue in the face, because I work in the medical facility. I work in the medical practice. I see patients come in and out that have suffered through forms of cancer as well when they come in here. Okay? Please get yourself tested. Please go through your normal checkups. Please make sure that your health is in tip-top shape down to the T. Otherwise, you could be literally hit with a curveball mainly down the line that you least expected, especially with this crazy, complex disease.
I really am. I'm allowed to go through these trials and tribulations so that I could touch and reach and bless people with my words, with the energy, with that thing that God gave me.
After revealing today the doctors removed his bladder after finding an aggressive form of cancer, Hall of Famer Deion Sanders is now encouraging others to get checked out. The 57-year-old former Dallas Cowboys star, now University of Colorado football coach, sat beside his doctors, saying he is blessed to still be here. NBC5's Alicia Barrera is following this developing story from the newsroom.
Hey, Meredith, it was good to see Coach Prime doing better and some of that energy, as he had been unusually quiet since April. But in true primetime fashion, he says he plans to leave the Colorado Buffaloes this season as coach and as a bladder cancer survivor. Today, we saw a lot of emotion from here. When he was asked what the biggest challenge has been, Sanders said it's not about him being cancer-free. He said it's about having an open conversation and getting people encouraging folks to get checked yearly. This diagnosis came when he was getting a CT scan. And here we have a little bit more information and what today and that announcement was like.
I appreciate you all coming today.
Visibly overwhelmed with gratitude.
I'm truly thankful that God is so good. God is so good. You have no idea.
An emotional Deion Prime Sanders alongside his doctors, putting all speculations to rest on his months-long absence from Colorado.
We gonna beat it, ain't we?
It's beaten.
It's beaten. Amen.
Coach Prime announced he had his bladder removed after doctors discovered a malignant tumor within his bladder.
Dealing with the catheter, dealing with all the stuff that I had to deal with. And right now I'm still dealing with going to the bathroom. Like, it's a whole life change. Like, I can't, and I'm gonna be transparent, I can't pee like I used to pee. It's totally different.
Doctors say this form of cancer, while prevalent, is not talked about enough.
It is one of the more common cancers. People don't often think about it, but in terms of the United States, it's the 6th most common cancer affecting Americans. It is top 10 in men, actually, and it's the 4th most common cancer in men. It doesn't make the top 10 in women, but it is still common.
Dr. Solomon Waldo, associate professor of urology at UT Southwestern, warns symptoms of bladder cancer could be painless.
Anytime a patient sees blood in the urine or a significant change in their urinary symptoms, they should be evaluated by their primary care physician.
Which is why experts are thankful Coach Prime went public with his health battle and is advocating for yearly physical exams.
Men, everybody, get checked out. Because if it wasn't for me getting tested for something else, they wouldn't have stumbled up on this.
And while Sanders says he's adjusting to a new lifestyle.
And let's deal with it. And let's deal with it head on.
Adding the sidelines may look different moving forward, but says he's not stepping off the field anytime soon.
It's real. Like, it is real, it is real, it is real. So if you see porta potty on the sideline, it's real. I'm able, I'm strong, I'm ready.
And Coach Sanders was very candid about what comes next for him. He hopes that this diagnosis will encourage others to get tested because he says if it can happen to Prime, it can happen to anyone. We're live in the newsroom. Alicia Barrera, NBC5.